People who worked in restaurants. What was the worst customer that you had to deal with? Worked in a popular restaurant for a while. We usually have quite a long wait. 3040 min waits during dinner service, and people are told by the hosts about this. There was this lady that got fed up with the wait after 10 mins. She stormed into the restaurant, stood next to a table of people and literally asked them, "Are you guys done? We've been waiting for a long time now and would like to have the table if you guys are just chatting." Was completely mind blown how people are able to not give a fuck and pull something like this in public. A customer ordered one of our daily specials and didn't like it. So instead of complaining to me about the food and letting me offer something else, she complained to my manager about me. This was May of last year. In August of last year, turns out she was one of my college professors for the semester, teaching a management course. She recognized me the first day, but I played it off like I didn't know her. Edit. She did not complain about me to my manager in front of me. I left to go work an event in a different building, and she left a sticky note for me after talking to my boss. I don't know what the sticky note said since I didn't bother to read it. We called him Big Red. He always wore a 3x red shirt and would come in by public transportation as soon as we opened on unlimited rib day. He would bring in his 6-4 big cup and request we fill it with our soda because we couldn't keep up with his refill needs with average cups. We would fill this cup 3 to 4 times. He would proceed to gorge himself on ribs over 2 to 3 hours. He would usually stop for a one-time 30-min sheet break in the middle of it. He smelled like rancid ass. Looked just as bad. I don't think he was employed and he never tipped. It was a rite of passage for new servers to have to take him. This was 2007. I doubt he is still alive. And #XB. Edit. I've called 3 people I was friends with in 2007 that either worked with me or knew of Big Red and still live in this city to learn if he is still around. Every one of them hasn't seen him in years. They all vividly remember him. Either he put his life back together or he has died. I'm hoping he was able to turn it around. I can't believe we are at almost 18K upvotes and all these damn awards. As someone who earned an English degree, I am honored that my syntax reminds you of a Western narrator from a big budget movie. I've loved Westerns my entire life. It makes me want to become a narrator with a Sam Elliott-like voice for a YouTube channel. Sadly, there is just so much to do with this virus lockdown, I just don't think I will ever have time to do this. Sarcasm. And #XB. I'm honored by your upvotes, awards and comments. May the force be with you, always. And #XB. Edit 2. Holy Mother of God. Someone found Big Red and his fucking obit and sent it to me. Are you fucking kidding? Someone knew of exactly what human I was talking about and even the street I worked on years ago. He died in 2018 of coronary atherosclerosis. https://www.google.com/amp/s/www.news.net/obituaries/20,190,106/Johnny Michael best percent brief template equals ampart. https://www.google.com/amp/s/www.news.net/obituaries/20,190,106/Johnny Michael best percent brief template equals ampart. If this whole thing isn't one of the craziest things to ever happen on Reddit. We fucking did it, guys. Wow. Please submit that guy to best of. Barrister here. Had a guy that regularly came in and ordered a complicated drink. He always finished the order by asking for our finger swirl in the drink. If you gave him a confused look, he would say, "Well, how else am I gonna taste you?" He was the worst. Our bar was having a private party. A drunk dude walks in and orders a drink. I knew he wasn't with the party based on his attire and that he came in every so often. I told him I couldn't get him a drink. He lost his mind. Told me to fuck off and then wanted to fight me. On his way out he yelled that we should put up signs, as he walked by the signs on the door saying we were closed for a private event. He came in the next day sober and apologized. I used to work in a bar that sold very old booze. A drunk man tried to impress his friends by chugging from a bottle of Amaro from the early 60s. He had to pay for the whole thing since his lips touched it and it was useless. Cost him around $800. Way back in the 80s I worked in a restaurant that was a favorite of the celebrity chef of those days, Jeff Smith, the frugal gourmet. Never seen a bigger asset than that guy. Literally make our servers cry. Nothing was ever right. He was beyond rude and condescending, yet he kept coming back. He had a reputation of being a jerk off camera. Eventually he was disgraced by being outed as a child predator and was quickly forgotten by all. Our restaurant was a good place. Another celebrity chef of the time, Graham Kerr, the galloping gourmet, was always a pleasure to have visit. After a wedding reception ended at our facility we were cleaning and I began the cleaning process on our espresso machine. The party was over almost a half hour already. The process takes 12 minutes. People were still there as the party slowly let out and the father of the bride asks me for an espresso. I told him I could get it to him, as we have a strict policy of always trying to satisfy a guest's needs. But the machine was cleaning and it would be done in about minutes. He begins ranting about how much he paid for the wedding and stormed to our banquets manager and told them I refused to make it for him. Manager is a bag and starts ripping me in front of the guy. I show both of them that the machine is just finishing the cleaning process and it was impossible to make it beforehand. I got suspended for 2 weeks. Work in a place that is frequented by local families and youth sports teams. On Sundays this one large group of people always come in and they are the worst. The parents drink and ignore their preteens who run around playing games in the entire restaurant, disrupting everyone else. They have tried to walk in a party of 45 during end-of-year sports party season when we are booked solid, and get mad that there isn't enough space for them. And they modify everything like crazy and leave zero in a tip. It's at least once a month the entire group comes in, and weekly for some of the individual families. Edit. Wow, thanks for the upvotes. Been a rough time, like unbelievably, and this oddly helped. Also I am not a server. I am a cook who happens to take orders, pour beer, run food, clear tables, and do dishes. But primarily I cook. This one guy who basically hated his order so much that he waved me over and told me to put my hand out and proceeded to spit out entirely what was in his mouth into my hand, then tell me to refund him and then make him something else. Edit. Holy guacamole. This comment blew up more than I thought. Thank you for the cake day comments and all around comments alone, and the awards. Much appreciated fellow Redditors. I'd like to point out that I was too shocked to really retaliate to what he did at that moment. I don't like confrontation, so I walked away to the bathroom and cleaned my hands for what felt like hours. My company worker saw what happened and told my boss, who kicked him out, and he was no longer allowed back. Anyways, have a great day. I waited tables for a few years in college, and the worst table that I ever had was a Catholic priest and some guy he was trying to hit up for donations. The whole meal he was very condescending and demanding. After everything was done, I left the check at the table. He ended up walking out stiffing me not just on the tip but on the entire check. He even stole the leather check holder thing. I reported this to my manager. A couple weeks later, this same guy comes in with about 20 members of his congregation. My manager told him he wasn't welcome in our restaurant after walking out on his previous tab in front of his whole party. They all ended up leaving to go elsewhere. Best manager I've ever had. Minus a homeless guy who came in, actively dripping of blood from his hands, and started screaming at me and threatening me because I wouldn't give him a bakery case item without him paying. He was dripping blood all over the counter and spitting everywhere until I threatened to call the cops. Minus a huge group of clearly rich kids who came in, stole a bunch of drinks, and left the dining room trashed. Minus a guy who demanded I take money from our tip jar to help him pay for his order and argued with me when I said no. Minus people who would place large orders, or even take home our cake and eat half of it, then flip their sheet and demand a refund when they'd find out it was all vegan, even though that fact was well advertised. My friend works at restaurant. A vlogger was shooting a video, and since it was allowed within the place, nobody troubled her. Apparently she wanted one of those porn sexual clickbait thumbnails, so she asked my friend to place his face in her breast while she squirted ketchup on herself. My friend refused as he was in a relationship, but some other employee agreed to do so. After they shot the thumbnail, she marched in the next day claiming sexual assault. I don't know what happened after that, but it did not turn out good for the liar. Bartending in a restaurant a few years ago. There was a private party and one of the guests asked me to plug in his iPhone to listen to a song. No big deal. I did it and he tipped me $20. He left his phone behind the bar and got wasted. When he was leaving I said, "Sir, don't forget about your phone." He threw a beer on me and told me to leave him the fuck alone and told me get a real job. Guess who got to keep a nice new iPhone? I worked in Domino's. I had a guy throw a handful of pennies at me while laughing. The 30-odd cents was my tip. He was mad when I turned around and walked away without picking any of them up. His exact words were, "Oh, my money not good enough for you. Fine. He'll never order Domino's again." I've never had a customer fire themselves like that before. It was great. Subscribe, like and comment if you hate outros. Begging you to subscribe, like and comment.